We'll
Well,
see.
going through that traumatic experience that you guys went through, it probably really, it probably did one of two things. And you don't have to answer this. You can obviously edit and cut all this stuff if you want to. But I'm willing to bet that it probably took you closer to a deeper faith than you've ever had in your life.
Man, yes. I'll say it like this. It altered the way that I experienced my relationship
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
God and
Yeah.
and how I carry that as a spiritual leader for my family. Once you hit rock bottom and you really feel what that is like and how a lower low that you've ever been before, you realize beauty in what you actually have in that moment. The blessings that you do have, and that things can always get worse.
All happiness starts with gratitude. I went through a period of my life where I didn't have much gratitude and I wasn't happy. I thought more things would bring the happiness instead of focusing on the things I have and the gratitude I have for the things I have. It's not more of those. It's just focusing on what you have and the gratitude you have.
Yo, this is the Streetwise Podcast, where we help you level up your game, level up your leadership, and level up your life. I'm your host, Matthew McReynolds. I'm a multi-brand franchisee, and I'm a franchise consultant, which means I help people find, launch, and build their ideal franchise business. My main goal is to help you get off of zero and become the person that your dreams need you to be. Buckle up, get your popcorn ready. Let's go.
So how long have you been podcasting?
I started my podcast in May 2023.
And what inspired you to podcast?
It's funny, man. I wanted to do this podcast for like 5 years. When I was en route at Mosquito Joe, just spraying bugs. And I was like, you know what? This would be great content. Like, I'm living this franchisee entrepreneurial life. I'm doing all the things, like the failures, the growth opportunities. I need to be plugging this up, but I was so afraid about getting it perfect. And one day I just realized, like, that's silly. That's ridiculous. My whole being is
Matthew, how old are you? So how old are you?
I'm 34.
And where are you based right now?
I live in Dallas. I live in Murphy's.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Austin, Pflugerville, Texas, man. The Austin area. Shout out Pflugerville.
And what took you to Dallas?
So, great question, man. You're killing me at my own. So, I played football at Wheaton College.
Wait. My daughter,
come on,
her boyfriend of 2 years is an incoming freshman at Wheaton to play basketball.
Let's go. Okay. Yeah, Wheaton's a small world, man, but they say it's the Harvard of Christian colleges. It's
I don't know about
that. They say it. I can't tell you who they is, but they say it.
I don't think nowadays, I don't know if you want to be the Harvard. I think you'd rather be the Duke.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I won't tap into that too. I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it. But no, man, I played football and ran track. And when I ran track, I met my now wife. So her family, her dad coached in the NFL, moved around, and he was with the Vikings. He left the Vikings, moved to Dallas. The whole family then migrates to Dallas. And I got to make a decision. I'm in Chicago working as a teacher in the inner city. Do I care about this relationship more than I care about what I'm doing in Chicago? And I cared about the relationship. So moved to Dallas. We've been here since 2014.
You got any kids?
I got 3 kids, man, a 6-year-old boy, a 3-year-old boy, and a just freshly 2-year-old little girl. She got me wrapped.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Come on.
So I'm 49. I'll be 50 next year. And my wife and I have been married 21 years. We've got 2 girls that are 15 and 17.
Ooh. And
what I would tell you is that, man, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a shit ton of mistakes. But I've only got one regret. My only regret in life is not having more kids.
Whoa. I'm glad we hit the record before you said that. I got that for the wife. Yeah. She can hear it later.
We should have had so many kids, because when you become 50, you start really kind of looking at it and saying, well, what's the second half of my life going to look like? And when I think about the second half of my life, I think about my girls having their families and grandkids. You start thinking about that life. And I talk to people now that are, 10 years older than me that are having grandkids for the first time. And the joy and the happiness that they have is unlike any joy or happiness I've ever seen. And so I really believe that having more kids and having family and the nuclear family is really the center to happiness. At the end of the day, it's truly the center of happiness. And so congrats on having 3. That's amazing. Man, you just, the joy you're going to get, especially when they become teenagers and you start interacting with them as if they're almost adults and having real conversations. I mean, my 17-year-old daughter, Maggie, I mean, she's truly like one of my best friends. I mean, we have we have like a hilarious adult conversations. And listen, Charlie, my 15-year-old, she's the sports fanatic like I am. And so she and I go to all the sports events and we have that relationship. And so you start building these relationships with your kids as they become adults. And it's the coolest thing in the world. And so I'm really excited for you and your wife to experience that, because that's the greatest joy in the world.
I appreciate it, man. It truly is a beautiful thing. And we talk about, my wife, she's had 4 full pregnancies, and it was within like a 5-year period. Between my oldest son and my middle son, we had a stillbirth at 38 weeks. So full pregnancy,
man, I'm so
lost
sorry.
the baby. And
God.
that took us out for a really long time. That was in 2019. And so for her, her body has not been hers for such a long time.
Right.
And so right now she's in the phase of getting all of that back and getting her confidence back. And we're in such a grind mode with what we're building with the franchises and what I'm doing with Streetwise and as a franchise consultant, and really trying to figure out and navigate my space. We had this conversation the other day because she was very starkly against having any more. Like, no, we're done. And I asked her if finances wasn't a part of it, would you consider, like, if we checked every single
if money was no issue, would you have more kids?
No issue. And I think that was the first time that both of us kind of sit down and thought about it. It was like, man, I think we would. So we'll see. Well,
going through that traumatic experience that you guys went through, it probably really it probably did one of 2 things. And you don't have to answer this. You can obviously edit and cut all this stuff if you want to. But I'm willing to bet that it probably took you closer to a deeper faith than you've ever had in your life.
Man, yes, it absolutely did. I'll say it like this. It altered the way that I experienced my relationship with God and with and how I carry that as a spiritual leader for my family. Because once you hit rock bottom and you really feel what that is like and how a lower low that you've ever been before, you realize the blessings that you do have and that things can always get worse, but what you had, the beauty in what you actually have in that moment. And I've been able to relate to so many people through that experience, and that's just curated my whole mindset on our pain actually leads us to our purpose. And so you asked about like why I got this show off the ground. It was realizing if I can touch people's pain points and create a narrative around how individuals overcame their pain points, whether it was, one of my students back in the day that was in and out of gangs, or somebody like yourself who's seen super success on a level that, I haven't reached yet. If I can tap into your pain points and turn it into a story for the listener, there's no way I won't be successful in this space. And
no doubt about it. I mean, everything, all happiness starts with gratitude,
man.
Right. And so when, I went through a period of my life where I didn't have much gratitude and I wasn't happy. And I thought more things would bring the happiness instead of focusing on the things I have and the gratitude I have for the things I have. It's not more of those. It's just focusing on what you have and the gratitude you have. And so when you think about this, I think about this phrase a lot. I try to think about this phrase a lot is, 20 years ago, I wanted to be where I'm at. And if I take myself back to 29-year-old Jamie Weeks, and if I told 29-year-old Jamie Weeks, you're going to have crazy success, you're going to run companies, you're going to be a founder of a company, you're going to have employees, you're going to have all these things, you're going to be asked to do podcasts that people want your advice and want to hear your wisdom, I would have said, man, you have a wife of 21 years and 2 beautiful children. I would have said, I'm living the greatest life in the world. That's everything I've ever dreamed of. And so I should have that same mentality at 49 that I had at 29, I've achieved what I wanted to, and I should be grateful and happy for achieving that. And so when I think about 69 and 89 and 109 of where I want to go, I got to remember at age 49, my dream is to be exactly where I'm at. And so when you start realizing that you're actually living your dream and you have gratitude for living your dream, you won't believe the level of happiness then you'll achieve.
Wow. At what point did that mindset click for you?
Actually, a lot more recently than you would have believed.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say like in when I sold the Honors Orange Theory business in 2018, that was a level of success that I never thought I would see. I mean, that was insane, and it was insane for my family. And I viewed that as, well, I've done it. I achieved what I wanted. What else was there to do? You know, I didn't think to myself, well, hey, dumbass, you got to live another 50 years. So you may want to back the ego down a notch or two and really focus on being a better person. And really in the last 3 years, my mental health has taken a dramatic turn for the better because of gratitude and faith, and really saying, you know, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm exactly where God intended me to be. And I'm exactly where my family needs me to be. And so if you're where you want to be, and if you're where your family needs you to be, and if you're where God intends you to be, why would you be trying to force yourself to go somewhere else or do something else? And
Mm.
so many times we live in this black and white world of, oh, I got to be, if I don't have a boat, I'm not successful. That's ridiculous. If I don't have a second home, I'm not successful. If I'm not flying a private jet, I'm not successful. That's insane. I mean, to me, I started defining success by happiness, not my bank account. I started defining success by happiness, not the things I have. I started defining success by love, not ego. And so when you can really say the true definition of success is a person's happiness, the game changes. And here's the other thing, Matthew. 99% of people, they define success with bullshit items. They're not defining success by happiness.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you're liking the conversation this far. Please take a moment, give it a 5-star review. It really helps spread this out to as many people as possible. All right, let's get back to the episode.
It's almost hard to quantify that, though. Like I think about in my own personal experience, especially with, I'm going to make it super tactful, fixing a blower at Mosquito Joe. My dad's been my business partner in this thing from the very beginning. He was the financial partner.
Man, is there anything harder than working for your dad?
Oh, I will say the only thing harder was I got married on March 12th, and my wife and I flew to Virginia Beach for corporate training on March 13th. So being newly married and having your wife be your coworker working for your dad, that's probably the only thing that's harder than working for my dad. We all have a great thing going now, but golly, that was tough.
Not many honeymoons are learning how to kill mosquitoes.
Yeah, facts. But we have a running joke now that if something's broken or something, we need to fix something. In order to truly fix it, you got to be willing to break it. You got to be willing to break the wrench, to break the blower if you really want to fix it. Yeah. And so I hear you talk about happiness, and it makes me think about kind of breaking out of the cycle, the mental cycle, and getting somebody to truly make the shift. You got any wisdom to that? Like, how do you break it in order to fix it?
Well, listen, sometimes you're broken and you don't know it. And that was me in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2019. I was broken and I didn't realize I was broken. Yeah. And so, you know, you listen, I think when you wake up every day, you get to do two things. You get to define happiness and you get to choose happiness, right? And so for me, being happy is I get to go work out. I get to sauna. I get to plunge. I get to do the things in the morning. My mornings from 5:30 a.m. until 8:30 a.m. That 3-hour period is my time.
Okay.
And I get to do whatever I want during that time. And so some days I wake up and I'm like, well, I'm going to go down to the river and go for a walk for an hour or two and listen to music and meditate. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm getting in the gym and I'm going to work out and do this and sauna and plunge and do some emails and do that. And some mornings I'm like, I'm not going to work out. I'm going to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to have a chicken biscuit and I'm going to drink a Diet Coke for the first time in a month and I'm going to live life, you know?
Let's go.
And so I try to do that a lot less. But you've got to start making choices to define your happiness. And I've made the choice that from every morning from 5:30 to 8:30, That is my time to be happy and do whatever I want to do. Because from 8:30 until 5, 6, 7 p.m., I'm not always able to choose happiness. I got Zooms, I got podcasts, I got business meetings, we got board meetings, we got stuff we got to do, right? And so I do think you should be starting every morning with some time to yourself. And it doesn't have to be 3 hours. It could be 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever. But when you get in that routine of having time to yourself and choosing happiness in the morning, I don't think you're going to find a way to break. I think you're going to be more focused on, hey, I got to start my day and I'm going to make some smart choices and do some right things. But I do hear you when you say, you got to break it to fix it. I think the other thing also, a lot of times we're inside the box and we can't see what's wrong and what's broken. And so we think about either relationships we've been in or relationships friends have been in, right? And so we've all I've got a couple guy friends who are single, and every month it's a different girl, and this is the one. This is the one. And when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, bro, he can't see it the way I see it. I mean, this ain't good. I mean, this ain't where this ain't gonna work, right? But when you're and by the way, you and I, we've been in that situation also where I'm like, man, this is the one. And all my friends are like, man, are you seeing what I'm seeing? This is a shit show. What is going on here? Right. And so sometimes you got to take a step back and really reevaluate and think about things. And for me, I do that by spending time alone, and I'll find time, 1 or 2 days a quarter where I need to be alone for a couple of days and really self-evaluate where I'm at in life.
Do you build any structure when you do that? Do you have to, here we are, entrepreneurs talking about super disciplined, all these things, talking about breaks and trying to put structure into the breaks. But I got to imagine there is some sort of intentionality that you have to have when you take that time off to yourself.
Yeah. I am probably the true definition of work hard, play hard, because I mean, me and my business partner, Mike Tan, and I, we are truly 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 6 days a week, Saturdays. And on Sundays, we meet at the office usually around 10 or 11 a.m. and we're here till 4 or 5. So we're 7 days a week. But then I will, when I take a week off, your boy takes a week off. Like it's, I'm taking some time. And so I also think, it's a little different in this world we live. Like we use Slack for all the communication channels, and I live via text. If you email me, you're probably not going to get a response for a while. Tori, my EA, will handle that. She's been my assistant for a long time, and she handles the emails, but I'm a text guy. And so I can get a lot done if I dedicate. So if I wanted to take a Friday off, which is rare, I may take 1 or 2 Fridays a year off. Let's say I take a Friday off. I can get a lot of work done on that Friday at 8 a.m. to 8:30, eating some eggs and bacon and doing some text messages, and then put the phone away till about 2 o'clock, grab it, do another 30 minutes, put it away till 7 o'clock, do another 30 minutes, and go from there. And so that's just life, man. That's just life. That's just, dude, I'm trying to make as much money as humanly possible. I can't take time off. I got to get shit done, right? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Look, I think the other thing, Matthew, is like, man, I love it. I love to work. I love to work. I love to work. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people. I enjoy problem solving. I enjoy leading. I enjoy communicating. I just enjoy being in the mix. It gives me life. It gives me energy. And I just love it. And I'm not going to be ashamed of it. Like, I'm not ashamed to say I want to make as much money as possible. And I'm willing to work 90 hours a week to do it. I'm not ashamed of that.
No, I love that. And I totally resonate with that. I'll speak for myself, but first I will say, I think a lot of entrepreneurs just in general can resonate with that. I personally, my office manager whose office is right across the way from me here, she is the holiday police. I wouldn't know what holidays were coming up if it wasn't for her telling me that the team is going to have off and that if I come in, nobody else is going to be here. I don't like holidays because I
hate weekends, bro. I hate weekends.
Me down.
I hate weekends. I don't like weekends. I hate weekends.
So, okay. So we're speaking the same language here, but I hear you too talk about you work hard, then you play hard. And when you're playing hard, you take it off. I just came back full week in Florida with the family. Every single day I had my laptop out. And it wasn't until the final day that I finally shut it down and enjoyed it because it was the last day. I mean, what can you speak into me in just trying to enjoy that time? Because it truly is hard, man. I feel like I suffer with what you just talked about. Like, until I get to that level of success, I have not earned the opportunity to be chill because I just haven't made it there yet.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, if you think about that week that you took off and had your laptop open and all that, you can still be engaged with your family and doing stuff. I mean, dude, especially you wait till you get a 15, 17-year-old.
I'm not ready.
Them bastards are on TikTok 24/7. I mean, I'm like, I'm putting my phone up. They're like, okay. I'm putting my phone up. I'm like, put your phone up for a few minutes. Talk to me, you know? So listen, I don't know. I don't know that I want to force myself to put that shit away. Like, you know, it's who I am. It's my DNA. This is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for it. We're going to do some great vacations. We're going to have fun. I mean, the month of July, I'm taking a bunch of time off, but I'm still going to have my phone with me. I'm still texting. Yeah. I'm still engaged. I'm still doing things. It doesn't mean that at a dinner, if Ray and I are at dinner for a couple hours by ourselves, I'll probably look at my phone a couple times and she will too. It doesn't mean I don't love her. It doesn't mean she doesn't love me. It doesn't mean that we're not having a blast. It's part of it. It's life. And so I don't know. You said something that I wanted to kind of go back to. You said, you know, I suffer with that. And I don't think it's suffering. I mean, someone said to me one day, you can't put this on the internet. I mean, this can be in the podcast, but you can't slice this up because this.
Don't make this the clip. All right. I promise. I won't make this the clip.
Someone was giving me shit one day. They're like, you know, Jamie, you know, money can't buy you happiness. And I said, it may not, but I'm going to enjoy that misery in some damn nice places. I mean,
I like that.
And by the way, motherfucking money can buy you happiness. Yes, it can. Yeah. Now, money can't buy you love, but it can buy you happiness. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, having that second house and going down there and chilling out with my family and having that time with them, that's, I got to tell you, we're pretty happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, you know, that's why I work my ass off to give them a better life and do more and have more fun and do these things. And so, man, it's just part of it. I'm done apologizing for it. I'm done. And I'm done with, you know, all he does is work. Man, dude, if I wasn't working, Reagan Weeks she would strangle me. I would drive her crazy. Be tapping her ass on the shoulder every 10 minutes. Where are we going? What are we doing? Where are we at? Where's the bread? Where's the peanut butter? Hey, why is the ice not cold enough? I mean, I would drive her crazy. So she needs a break from me.
Yo, thanks for listening this far. It's at this point in the episode that I want to talk about Streetwise franchising, teaching, training, building. Streetwise franchising. As a franchise consultant, it's my job, it's my absolute pleasure, and it's my mission to help aspiring entrepreneurs find, launch, and build their ideal business. I've been a franchise owner for almost a decade. I know what it means to struggle. I know what it means to build a team. If you're ready to get off of zero, if you're ready to build something for yourself, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's get the conversation started. Don't wait until tomorrow to build your future. It starts today. Streetwise franchising. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Let's get back to the episode.
Oh, that's funny, man. I haven't tapped into that myself. I know my father-in-law, again, when he was done coaching, he took all his energy and passion as the player, as the coach, when he plugged it into dad mode and husband mode. Man, those kids they wanted to get him out of there so fast. Just the intensity had to be channeled somewhere. So dude, I feel that.
I'm crazy. I'm looking at my phone now. I'm doing a podcast. Look at my phone now. I'm like,
I feel it. You know what? I will say my vibe on this thing is usually very conversational, very back and forth. And you've taken that and completely flipped it. Like I'm loving the vibe that I'm getting from you right now. Most of these people are like, they think I'm too sporadic with the way I ask my questions.
No.
I'm loving this type of conversation. I just got to take a break to give you your roses now that we're 20 minutes in, because I really appreciate the vibe that you brought to the table. This is pretty cool.
No, absolutely. Listen, it's I don't know if it's a vibe or an energy. I'm a really, really positive person. I'm I would consider myself about as real as it gets. I mean, I got no problem telling you my insecurities. I got no problem telling you I'm an open book. It is what it is. This is who I am. I've made a shit ton of mistakes. I've been a complete jackass. I've had the biggest ego in the world. I've thought I was the cat's meow. I've done it all. And so I'm kind of looking back and thinking, well, it may not all be bad. We did some good stuff too. And you know, but I kind of look at the next 50 years for me and I'm like, if I could do it, if I could do anything different, I've always wanted to write. So I'm in the middle of writing a book. Well, I'm not in the middle. We're almost done with writing a book.
All right.
I've taken 2 years. I've had a ghostwriter helping me. He's been amazing. And it's a little bit of everything from culture and franchising and private equity and all that. And, you know, I've always said I wanted to write a book called The Second Half. And it was going to be the things I want to do in the second half of my life that I didn't do in the first half of my life and the things I learned. And so I've got a lot of younger guys that work with me that are your age and younger and a lot around your age. And I'm just like, man, I've lived a life. I mean, dude, I have lived a damn life and I've done some insane shit. And if I'm not sharing that stuff with guys like you and saying, hey, here's something you need to think about, then, you know, every now and then, you know, you at 34, I got to kind of put my arm around you and be like, listen, little buddy, I know this is what you're thinking. I know this is what you're thinking, but it's wrong. And let me tell you why it's wrong. Because I made the same mistake, you know?
Man.
And so that's kind of the way I'm living my next 50 years is I'm going to put my arm around some of these younger guys and be like, here's the mistakes I made. Don't do it. And here's the shit I did right. And let me show you how to leverage that and do it.
Man. Well, I appreciate that. You know, I like to consider myself a serial mentee. And in order to be someone who's constantly learning and absorbing from other people, you also have to be able to turn around and give back to the people that are behind you. There's a whole cyclical process to mentorship. But I'm curious, man, you talk about current insecurities, and I know it's a silly mindset for me to have, right? Like I know it's foolish, but I look at your resume, I've heard your story, I've seen the success, and I see what you're building. What possible insecurities could somebody like yourself still have at this point?
Yeah,
well, that doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah. Probably too deep for this podcast. We'll get to it one day, but maybe it's less about insecurities, which there's no doubt I have some. We all do, and more about caring more about others than I care about myself. And so that's something that, you know, it's always been the Jamie show, and that's on me. And it shouldn't always be the Jamie show. Now, let's be clear, like at Sweat House and LFC and what we're doing. I mean, I'm the guy in charge and I'm making the final decisions, but that doesn't mean it needs to always be about me. And I think 5, 6, 7 years ago, things were always about me. And by the way, that wasn't always by choice. I mean, I'm a leader. And so it's one thing to be a leader and take that title of CEO and founder and run with it and lead people. It's another thing to take that title and run with it, but also make it about yourself. And so I think, you know, it's a difficult balance. It's a really difficult balance, but I would say the most important thing that I would say to any younger leader, CEO, person who's trying to really run a business is, man, your greatest asset is your people. And when you make it all about them, you won't believe what they will do for you.
Okay. I want to talk about your people because before I reached out to you guys, I follow your stuff and the content you guys make is so funny and it's so real. And I love it. So I do want to hear about the upcoming and the rise, but first, like break down for the audience, like what you guys are building right now. Like, what does it look like? What is Legacy Franchise Concepts, Sweat House, but then also the content that you're building and the whole game. Let me hear it.
Yeah. So listen, here's kind of like the best way to look at it. In 2014, I invested in the Orange Theory system. I became a franchisee. I had never been an entrepreneur or done anything like that. I built 12 Orange Theory studios pretty quickly, scaled them quickly where they were running extremely profitable. At the end of 17, so in exactly 36 months, I sold that business. I sold more than 80% of that business to private equity for a number that doesn't even make sense to me. Doesn't even make sense. And so when I had that transaction, had that event, I required the new private equity firm, whoever it was going to be, to allow me, and asked them, and they said yes, but I was clear, like, this has to happen for me to start my own family office, because I saw an opportunity for me to be in franchising. To me, franchising was really fragmented by either mom and pops who barely knew what they were doing, or knew what they were doing but didn't have more capital, and then these large multi-unit groups that were just crushing it. I mean, crushing it. And so for me, it was, there's an opportunity here if you do this right from a culture standpoint, and if you invest in for me, I wanted to be in the service space. I wanted to be in something that I didn't want to have a whole lot of inventory. And so in Orange Theory, you had no inventory. So when I made that, we had that transaction, I formed Legacy Franchise Concepts. My first investment was Dogtopia Daycares, where I became a franchisee. I'm now one of the largest franchisees in that system. I think license wise, I am the largest. And then in 2019, I wanted to be in the pet space. I mean, it's sticky money. If you have a dog or two dogs, you realize that, at 25, at the time when I invested in Dogtopia, it was the highest percentage of ownership of dogs under the age of 30 in the history of the United States. And so sometimes the obvious answer is right in front of you. And so if you're a 27-year-old female, single, and you got Karen the Labradoodle, when Karen the Labradoodle goes to puppy heaven, let me tell you what you don't do. You don't say, boy, that was fun, I'll never get a dog again. Most likely what you say is, holy shit, I just lost my best friend, I'm going to go get two.
Fact.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't have a dog at 35 and then decide, actually, I'm a bird person at 35. That shit ain't happening. Fact. Right? You go get another dog. So if you're telling me more people under 30 have more dogs than ever, I'm telling you, that's probably a pretty good investment thesis for the next 40 years. It's pretty simple math.
It's that simple. Sometimes
it's pretty simple math, right? I mean, let's be clear. I have never claimed to be smart, ever. I work hard because I'm not smart. So let's take that philosophy one step further. You're 34. So when you were 24 and out of college 10 years ago, you had more fitness opportunities than ever. CrossFit, Orange Theory, F45, Cycle Bar, Soul Cycle, Berries, Equinox, Lifetime, LA Fitness, Crunch, Planet Fitness. You had more than you've ever had, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, if you've got all that fitness, what do you not have on the other side of it? Recovery. You got no recovery. And so I said, well, there's got to be, I gotta figure out how to get into recovery. So I started doing the math and started doing the research, and there's really something behind sauna. I knew that Sweat House was never going to be just a sauna studio. I knew we needed more modalities. And so we opened the first Sweat House in 2019. November of 19, we opened the second in January of 2020. You can't time a global pandemic any better than that, actually. And so we go into a global pandemic. We're able to then reopen studios in Atlanta in May of 2020. And by July, we had more members than we had in May in a global pandemic. And I was like, well, this makes no sense. Am I really going to be the guy that just scales a business in a global pandemic? And that's how dumb I am. I decided to scale a business in a global pandemic, and we started testing different things. And then when we tested the cold plunge in 2021, the response was off the charts. And so I went all in, and we said, okay, let's franchise it. Let's do contrast therapy suites, private suites. And so today we have 24 or 25 open. We've got 50 in construction. We'll finish the year with 75 sweat houses open. We'll finish next year with 200 open, and we got a good business one. We got a good one here.
Man, so I'm a big fan. I actually, this is funny. I actually got turned down to be a franchisee for Sweat House, which I always respect when franchisees get turned down by a brand. I didn't have enough money.
Well, here's the good news. Here's the good news for that.
Yeah.
We had 2,500 inquiries to be franchisees. Today we have 33 franchisees, and I've stopped license sales.
Whoa. Okay. Feel a little better about myself then.
Yep.
So man, I'm curious about the gut punches, getting kicked in the teeth in the process. Where have you? I've failed so many times, and I know that on the back end of it, it's only made me stronger. As an athlete, as somebody that pushes their body through pain, it's the failure that helps us level up.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What about this journey of you making stupid money, as you say, you've scaled the business through global pandemic. What were those moments though that you had to really knuckle up and fight through it?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, there's so many, there's a lot more losses than wins.
Okay.
It's easy to talk about the wins because everyone wants to hear a happy, positive story, but the losses stack up. But you don't have wins without losses either, right?
Facts.
I mean, listen, I think it's hard to give specific examples of gut punches. I mean, we all have them, and some are business and some are personal. And it's just a part of life, and you kind of roll with it and go from there. I think when you really, at the end of the day, if you were making every effort possible to have win-wins, and so every deal I do, it's a win-win. I don't do win-loses. I want to sleep well at night, and I don't want to do deals with anybody where I win and they lose. And I tell that to everybody. I only do deals that are win-win. And I'll tell you the other thing that I've decided, and this has really, been a philosophy of mine for a long time. I refuse to work with people that I wouldn't have lunch with. And if you're someone where I'm like, I don't know that we're going to get along. Like, let's be clear. I'm a 50-50 guy. Half the people love me. Half the people hate me. And a lot of people go through life and they try to convince the half that hate them to like them. And you bang your head against the wall. Guess what? They're never going to like you. They're never going to like you because there's haters in the world. And the more success I have, the more haters I have.
Wow.
And that's part of it. And so what I've decided to do in the last 3-4 years is lean in the type of person that's all in on me. And so I've gone from surrounding myself with 50-50 people and half that I'm trying to convince that I'm a good guy to really just saying, hey, I like you and you like me. I respect you and you respect me. I think we'd have fun working together. Let's figure this out and go do it. And when you realize that, no one thinks they're 50-50. Everyone thinks they're 90-10. 90% of people like me, 10% hate me. Guess what? You're wrong.
That ain't it.
We're all 50-50. When you realize you're 50-50, then you get to pick the people who are around you.
Wow. I think I still am working on that. Yeah. I think I still, I do a lot of networking stuff. I'm out in the community all the time, and it's still, it digs at me when I can't connect with that individual person. And
drop that and move on. Just drop and move on. Drop and move on. The next person you're going to find, listen, we've all been there where we've met someone in the first 5 or 10 minutes. You're like, bro, did we just become best friends? Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then you've met people where in the first 5 or 10 minutes, you're like, no, thanks. I want nothing to do with this person.
Facts.
The faster you recognize that, the faster you're going to move on and build the team you need.
Okay. So building the team, you said something a while ago, and this will pivot into like how your leadership has changed. But I heard you on, I think it was the Wolf of Franchises asked you this, and I loved the questions that you would ask when you were interviewing people.
Yeah.
And it was so basic, but so powerful at the same time.
Let's wait. Hey, Matthew, let's you and I do it because I'm going to tell you what I think when I ask you. So you got one movie the rest of your life. What's your one movie the rest of your life?
One movie.
And I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you what I get out of that when you tell me the movie. I'm going to tell you what I think of you. So what's your one movie?
One movie.
One movie.
Man. Well, you know what? Because it's the most recent and I have watched it so many times and I'm not tired of it yet. It's the second Spider-Verse movie that came out a couple summers ago. I love it. I could watch it all day.
So when you say that to me, that tells me you're a little bit of a dreamer. You're a little bit of a fantasy guy. You're a dreamer. You're always going to be thinking about the dream and achieving the dream. And okay, so that's good. Tell me your first car. First car you ever had that was your car.
It was a 2004 Jeep Liberty. Worked at Target in the city of Pflugerville in order to buy it from my dad.
And so how much did you pay for that car?
I paid about $200 a month for forever until that thing broke down.
So that tells me, so now I'm like, okay, parents didn't buy him a car. This is a hardworking kid. He's going to put in the time, put in the hours. So now I've got someone who's a dreamer, which I love. Someone who wasn't given a brand new BMW when they turned 16. This is a work hard kid. First concert that you ever went to?
Gosh. So I'm from Austin. And so I used to always, as soon as I was old enough, I would always go to, I more so remember the location because
tell me the first concert you remembered. Tell me the first concert you remember that meant something. Who?
Oh gosh. So it would have been Emos it was either Emos or Stubbs down in downtown Austin, and Citizen Cope was playing. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget it because I loved the band. I love him, but all my guys were there and we were just rocking out. It was amazing.
Yeah. So are you a music person?
Love live music, man.
Okay, so here's the backup to that one. If it's one that I can't really get from, tell me your number one concert of all time.
Number one concert would have been the Sasquatch Music Festival in Spokane, Washington in 2010.
So tell me who played at that was memorable to you.
Oh man, so many. My guy Kid Cudi. I was a big Kid Cudi guy back in the day. I've probably seen Kid Cudi at least 5 times. And
so what's interesting about your concerts is these are, and here's my takeaway from it. These are not massive celebrities, not massive musicians that are a little off the beaten path, which tells me you're probably someone that thinks outside the box.
Okay, I can rock with that. Yeah.
And so now you're a dreamer because of the Spider-Man movie. We know you got a great work ethic. I mean, you had a Jeep Liberty in a 2004 Jeep Liberty that you didn't give a shit what it was. You were happy to have something. And your music is a little random music. So you're cool with not being, mainstream and being like everyone else. You're cool with being a little different. That's someone that I would invest in. That's someone I'm like, yeah, you're going to walk to your own beat. I like that. You're a fancy guy. You got hard work. I'm all in. That's something I would be all in on. But if the answers would have been number one movie of all time, The Notebook, I would have been like, that's not real. That's not reality. That's fantasy. That's not reality. That's not the way you find love. First car, my parents bought me a brand new 3 Series BMW for my 16th birthday. You don't know work ethic. You were handed stuff. You're going to feel entitled. First concert you ever remember, first concert that you ever went to. If the answer is, I'm not really a music person, it's going to be really hard for you and I to get along.
Wow. So I was always curious about this, and I love that I get to ask you because I didn't plan it. Do you have answers to all those things off the cuff?
Oh yeah, of course.
Movie? Yeah. What favorite movie?
So my favorite movie changes. It changes from time to time, right?
Okay.
And but I'm going to say one, but I will tell you the 2 that I go back and forth on. So my favorite movie is going to be Gladiator. Just to me, I mean, it's just the acting, Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, it's as good as it gets. And then I will throw in a Tommy Boy, a Dumb and Dumber. I mean, a little bit of a, I mean, I got a good sense of humor. I love to laugh. My number one, my first concert was Lisa Cult Jam at the Fox Theater when I was in the 4th or 5th grade, maybe 6th grade.
Okay.
But I'm a concert guy. I mean, my wife and I see 20 or 30 concerts a year, so we're big music people.
Love it.
My first car was in 1985 or 86. This is in 1993, 92, maybe in 82, 83. Chevy Cavalier that was $1,800. That was a stick shift that I had to learn how to drive a stick shift for about 3 or 4 months before my dad let me go buy what I wanted. And I went and bought a 1979 Jeep. I had to save my money. 1979 Jeep CJ7 that I paid $3,800 for, sold the Chevy Cavalier. And I paid for the gas and everything, and he paid the insurance. And then when I went to college, he made me sell it, and I sold it for like $4,200.
Okay,
which was a big deal that I made money on that Jeep.
Yeah.
And so yeah, those are my 3 answers.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, funny story. I learned to drive a stick shift. I used to work at a body shop, and my very first day, one of the mechanics asked me to pull a car for him. And I'm back in the little garage area. I put the thing in reverse, pressed gas. Turns out I didn't put it in reverse. Slam into the fence in front of it, completely wreck the bumper. And then one of the other mechanics takes me under his wing and teaches me how to drive.
Are you kidding me?
This was a summer job. The manager came and was like,
"Thank God you got in a wreck. Thank God you got in a wreck at a body shop."
Hey, facts. But that day, I learned a huge management leadership lesson. The manager came and he was like, hey, because I told him immediately. He said, I just want to tell you, we all make mistakes. You make a mistake and you come let me know immediately, we can figure it out. If you ever do anything like this again and you don't tell me and you try to hide it and I find out, you are fired on the spot. You are fired on the spot.
Hey, listen, I tell the team all the time, I'm like, man, you got to go fast and make mistakes.
Mm.
It's okay to make mistakes. We can fix it. We can fix every mistake. But if you're not going fast, I got a problem. If you're going so fast that you make mistakes, it's okay. But if you're going slow and making mistakes, you're done. You're done. If you're making mistakes going fast, we can fix it. Just keep going fast.
Facts. Yeah, I tell my guys, there's nothing that they can do in Mosquito Joe. A mistake that they made going fast, going with a good spirit that I haven't also already made. Because I was doing this thing for 7 years before I took myself out of the truck. Anything they can do, I've probably done
100%.
Well.
Yeah, wait till you're 45, 50 years old. You'll be like, I've seen it all, man. I've seen it all. Jesus
I'm
Christ.
curious, how has, because I know your leadership has had to change as you've scaled. There's no way you're in the same seat doing the same day-to-day that you were when you had your 12 locations. So how specifically have you had to level up in order to match the growth and scale that your seat has demanded of you?
I mean, the best way to answer it's like this. In the home office, we've got, I think, 30, let's say we got 30 people. And I think I'm probably the 4th highest paid.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's super interesting.
I mean, what I've learned over the years, man, you pay for talent.
Okay.
You pay for talent. And I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I need people around me that are smarter than me, that know more than me, that can teach me. And if I got to pay them, I got to pay them. And there's probably not a lot of CEOs that are like, I'll go pay whatever I got to pay to have the right people in place. I'll pay them. I don't give a shit. When people, hey, let me tell you what, you pay for what you get for. You pay for what you get for. And, there's a reason those athletes are the highest paid and some are the lowest paid, because they perform.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so it's no different than business. It's no different. And so if we're going to, like, we're on a search for a couple people right now, and I asked our HR girl, I was like, what's the range on Indeed and all this? She told me the range, and I said, take the top of the range, add 40% to it, and make that the new range. So our range is, the low end is the top of everyone else's range, and then 40% higher for everyone else for that range.
Wow.
You're going to attract people. Now you're going to get someone who's looking at it saying, oh shit, that's serious money. I wasn't going to leave, but this is serious. That's how you get talent, right? You got to pay for it. You're going to get what you pay for.
So I'm in the space where I get paid by helping entrepreneurs come into existence. I don't necessarily create the entrepreneur, but I facilitate the transition. But at the same time, I feel like too many people, they have the wrong mindset about entrepreneurship. They want to work for themselves, but they don't realize that they're terrible bosses, especially to themselves. Maybe because they haven't had the right mentorship, they don't have the right mindset. How would you kind of decipher the benefits of working for yourself and continuing down that passion and building something versus working for somebody? I'll just use you as an example. I'm sure you're not perfect, but from the outside, it looks like you guys got a great thing going, and what you can learn from being under a phenomenal leader and a phenomenal culture, and where you can grow in both.
Well, I will tell you, like, if your goal is to build and scale a business, then sell it, you have to learn how to be an operator. And there is a real need for multi-unit, excellent operators who think a little differently and do it a little differently and move at an insane pace. And so I didn't become an entrepreneur until I was 38 or 39 years old. And I always moved fast, and I always spoke fast, and I always had the same energy. I was always cocky and all that. I mean, I just go. But when you learn how to truly be an operator and be a problem solver and get in that studio and work it yourself, or get in that business and work it yourself, half the people that want to be entrepreneurs think you just, manage people and it's absentee and you're on your boat all day hanging out while you're telling people what to do. Man, that ain't it. I mean, dude, no one's outworking me. No one. It's not happening. You're not going to out hustle me. I'm a hustler. You're not going to out hustle me. And the team will tell you, no one's here as much as Jamie and Mike Tan. No one. We're here more than anybody. You got to put the time, you got to put the effort in. You got to be able to look at your employees and say, this is what I need you to do, and I need you to do it because I've done it. And if you can't say that I've done it, then I don't need to hear advice from you. I don't need to. I mean, it's like social media. There's so many people on social media telling me that how to be an entrepreneur and how to 10X this, and you're going to do this. I'm like, dude, you ain't done shit. Right? I mean, like, what have you, by the way, there's some out there that have, but there's a lot of them out there that have never actually done it. And so it's one of the things I respect about you. You got a podcast and you're actually doing it. You're actually working it and doing it. You're actually a franchisee. There's people that are doing podcasts, a franchisee podcast. They ain't never been a franchisee. They ain't never been a franchisor.
Man.
But they're giving advice on how to be a franchisee and how to be a franchisor, yet they've never done it. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Let's go. That's big, man. That's big. And I appreciate that sentiment. Something that's kind of been on my heart lately is I was 25, 26 when I became a franchisee. And, I've always been a hustler. I've always been a Swiss Army knife I never had a real corporate job when I was at these schools. And it's interesting to me. And I almost think that my growth has accelerated, but I also feel like a piece of my development has been missing because I've never worked underneath somebody like you or somebody else. I mean, would you agree? Do you think that there might be something missing?
100%.
So what should I do? Like, speak into that maybe a little bit. I don't mind being vulnerable on this thing.
Well, no, I don't think you're being vulnerable. I just think you're just asking the right questions and being smart. But listen, I think you're probably doing it with your podcast. I mean, I don't know, but like you're talking to entrepreneurs that are giving you feedback. And so that's a big part of it. I think nowadays with social media and podcasts, you can learn a ton without having to work somewhere. Right. I mean, the medium has changed a ton and that's amazing. But like the way you look at me is the way I look at Gary Vee. I mean, that guy did it. That guy did it. Like he was in it. He sold the companies. He's done it. He's done the work. He's a marketing genius. He's done all the things. And sometimes, Matthew, you got to go do it and learn it. And so either you're going to have someone teach it to you or you're going to have to get in there and do it yourself. One of the two. And so for you, you're doing it yourself and learning it that way, but you also have this medium where you're learning from guys like me and other people. And so you're getting the best of both worlds.
There we go. Yeah, you said it.
All right. I got no offense. I got time for one more question.
More. Oh, man. Well, I ended all the same way, but this is so off the cuff from all my usual ones. Golly, man. Let me just pray real quick and Lord, help me get the right question for this guy. If you're coaching somebody up to get off of zero, thinking about all the opportunities in your life, and I know that for you, you're a hustler. You've said that many times. A lot of these people, fear dictates how they move and where they move. But you're coaching somebody up to get off of zero, thinking about your younger self, or you're thinking about your kids. What advice do you give that person to get them or to help facilitate their movement forward?
You got to move. You got to have the actions. You got to do it. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the effort. You got to put in the work. You got to ask the questions. You got to send the random text messages to people. Like whatever you got to do, you got to do it. No one has ever said, yeah, we're going to have to let that person go. Why is that? Oh, they were just working too hard. Yeah, just too much work ethic. Just can't have it around here. Too much work ethic.
Too much work ethic. They were too
no one's ever said, we're gonna have to let Matthew go. Why is that? Oh, he was just too into the details. Way too into the details. Oh, we're gonna have to let Matthew go. Why is that? He was just over-servicing the clients too much. They were just too happy. People are just too happy. And so, listen, we're never at zero, by the way.
Oh.
You're never at zero.
Okay.
If we're talking about a scale of 0 to 10, the worst you're ever going to be is probably a 3 or a 4.
Okay.
You may feel like you're at zero, but you're not. There's someone there to support you. There's someone there to pick you up. If it ain't someone, it's God. Someone's there. So you're never at zero. Don't ever think you're at zero because you're never at zero. And so You got to have that mentality of I mean, listen, you got to be a doer. You got to be a doer, and you got to go do it. You got to hustle. If that means you got to work 2 jobs to save the money to invest in yourself, I think the single most important thing, and you did it at 25, is you got to invest in yourself. If you're going to make a bet, don't make a bet like the get rich quick bullshit of whatever it is. It ain't happening. It's only hard work and taking care of other people are the only way it's going to work. That's it. End of story. There's no other way to do it. I mean, at Mosquito Joe, if you're providing the best service and you're answering text messages and phone calls faster than anybody, you're answering leads faster than anybody, and you're servicing them better than everybody, and you're following up with them better than everybody, and you're taking care of your team, you think you're going to fail?
Absolutely not.
It's not going to happen.
Even if they leave, they're going to come back.
That's right. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen time again.
Because they're going to say, man, there was no one better than that guy. I mean, listen, think about how good Chick-fil-A is 6 days a week at their volumes at servicing people. There's no one better, bro. It's just, I don't give a shit whether you like Chick-fil-A or not. I don't give 2 shits. I'm just telling you right now, for the amount that they are servicing more than anybody in QSR. And you're telling me they're the best service as well? Those 2 things are not independent of each other. They are one and the same. They are servicing the most people because their service is the best. And never, ever, ever forget that. If you are servicing the most people, I promise you your service is really good.
I love that. Man, you, in so many different ways, you hit on the true essence and the heart of what this show is all about.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I could do that, and thank you for having me.
I would be remiss if I didn't say this was one of my favorite interviews I've ever had. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
To the listener, golly, this was very powerful. Listen to it twice. And as always, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Hey, if this episode added any value to your life at all, please like it, share it, give me a 5-star review. It's the only way that this show is going to gain traction and help more people achieve their dreams. If you're ready to start your franchise journey, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's set up a time to talk. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.